So this was the week after our mid-year exams, and honestly I was kind of hoping for a more chill week, but nope, we just dived straight back into content-heavy lessons, and our teachers also started to hand out like revision packages and these revision schedules that would pack for like the next 10 weeks all the way till prelims. Like, I get that A's are getting nearer and everything is really going to start picking up pace, but I think I couldn't help but feel a bit overwhelmed, especially after like mugging throughout the whole of the June holidays. So I think at this point I was quite burnt out. Hence the video, which honestly I was quite hesitant to start recording because I felt like whatever I wanted to share didn't feel very legit, since it was coming from just personal experience, and I'm not even like a straight A student. I'm just an average student with shitty grades trying to get through JC. So eventually I decided to go ahead and do this because I started the whole thing, this whole thing to document my journey to A's and really reflect on the experience. And if you think about it, it's really these unfiltered and candid thoughts that make these videos like cringe or like valuable to look back on. So I thought, yeah, why not just do the video? Okay, so yes, about burnout. I think it's quite inevitable to burn out at times, especially during the crunch period nearing exams or like finishing projects. And I also think that it's quite normal to feel bad for burning out and really be in denial of it at first, or at least like personally that's usually my first response, like,
wait, but why am I even burning out? I didn't even like study as much as I wanted to, and there's still like a shit ton of things to do. Like, did I just burn out over doing nothing?
And usually that just ends up making me feel more overwhelmed. So at this point I try to catch myself by saying like, look, what's happened, and I'm already in this really terrible state of mind, so why make it worse? So I think the most crucial step to recovering from burnout firstly would be to be kind to yourself. And I know that this is difficult because we often feel guilty and angry at ourselves for not doing as much as we wanted to, and then we feel bad for taking breaks. But the way I see it is that the stuff that you have to do is just going to keep piling up, and there's literally no end. Like there's no way you can finish your work, especially like as a student. The work just keeps coming. So if you don't take a break now, like when you're already in this bad state, and try to recalibrate your mental state, then when are you gonna do it? So I just thought that it's better to recover earlier than to wait for it to get any worse. Also, I feel like the quality of work that I produce in this state of burnout is usually very subpar, and I'm usually like not content with the work that I produce, so that really only makes me feel worse about myself. So yeah, why continue to do work and make myself feel even worse, right? And secondly, I would say to let the burnout run its course. Don't fight it, and don't try to convince yourself that you're not burned out, because it really doesn't work that way. Like, you can't convince yourself out of being sick, and this is pretty much the same thing, because our body is trying to tell us that something is wrong, and the worst that you could do is to ignore the signs. So I found that one really effective way to tide through this phase is actually to do brain dumps, where you just like vomit out all your thoughts and emotions on paper by asking yourself questions like, what are you feeling and why are you feeling this way, and to really answer truthfully as possible, because literally no one's going to read it or like judge you, and even if you judge yourself, that's fine. So don't be afraid to face your most candid thoughts, and you start to find that the more you write, the more questions and answers will come to you, and that whole like can of thoughts that felt jammed in your head will start unraveling again till your head feels lighter, and you'll start to feel less overwhelmed as well. Okay, so at this point, hopefully you'll find yourself reaching the last stage of recovery where you start to feel better, and then you can properly evaluate the next steps to take to prevent yourself from burning out again. And usually I like to do this by implementing more breaks in my study schedule, and by breaks I mean like intentional breaks, where you really give yourself that half for the entire day off, or maybe just that 1 or 2 hours to really do the things that you like, like go for a walk, watch a movie, I don't know, bake some banana bread or something. And not the kind of breaks that you take to procrastinate on work that you suddenly don't feel like doing. But also from a very practical point of view, you realize that we can only really afford to take these breaks if we start our revision early. So please just don't put yourself in a situation where you have to cram your entire syllabus in 2 days. Try to start early and really pace yourself by taking more intentional breaks. I think to really get past burnout requires a certain level of letting go, which can be quite scary because it seems counterintuitive to do this when it really feels like there's so much you need to do. But sometimes we just need to take that first big step and really adopt the mindset to put your health first. And by being a little less hard on yourself does not mean that you're not taking your academics seriously enough. Okay, so personally, even though I'm not doing very well in school, I know that I do take my academics seriously. Yes, I'm scared of not being able to do well eventually in my A-levels, and of course I want to do better in my internal exams as well. But I've learned that being able to manage your expectations and being kinder to yourself really makes the whole process a lot more enjoyable. And honestly, that's the way that I think school should be, or at least that's how I want it to be lah. Because as cliche as it sounds, I want to at least really find that joy in learning and be able to enjoy the things that I'm learning. Okay, but I think I've rambled on enough now. Hopefully this made sense or was at least a little bit helpful in helping anyone get through their burnout. Or even if it does not make sense, I hope that it gives you comfort in knowing that there's at least one other person who really doesn't know what they're doing. So all the best for your upcoming exams, whichever ones you're sitting for. Don't forget to drink water, hydrate yourselves. Yes, my voice is dying.